Fortnite. Somehow it's become the greatest game of all time in some people's minds. And in fact, that's kind of true since it's like one of the most popular, I guess. So yeah, if people love it for its gameplay, its weapons, its skins, everything. There's one thing though I feel like it has a little bit of a downside too. Its story. Now, I personally like the story of Fortnite when I looked it up, but man, there are some problems. Man. The first chapter didn't really do the best, I feel like. And there's a lot of gaps. In my opinion, there should be a dedicated story mode, and yeah, there should be like a whole lot more. They probably should have taken more care of the story, even though it is good, don't get me wrong. So, I'm gonna redo it. How I would do it if Fortnite just said, hey, could you please fix our story? If you can. That's probably never gonna happen, but I would love the chance to do that. So, that's what I'm gonna do. So please like, subscribe, and let's get started. The lore of Fortnite is kind of sketchy due to the multitude of questions, so I plan to either rewrite some pieces of lore, and for others, make clear on what they are. Let's first talk about snapshots. Yikes. Of course, it's obvious how snapshots are made when someone leaves the loop. This is actually a very clear answer, more or less, but I believe some changes should be made. Snapshots are no longer copies of characters, they are now simply different versions of the character from all across the Omniverse. I know that might be a bit of a change, but this is the only one that I feel like would really contradict things. That change, a snapshot is not what's left behind when someone leaves the loop. I might keep some of the snapshots by simply saying that the imagined aura just placed them there after that person escaped. And then, speaking of that, on to the loop. The loop is a very interesting thing in Fortnite. It is a storm people are constantly running from with matches. It also apparently wipes your mind once you enter. Or does it? There is something I just don't understand. It appears that all loopers have their memories he's lost, but characters like Midas, Jonesy, and the Avengers don't really seem to lose their memories. I mean, Midas had a whole secret plan in the works when he was first introduced, and yet somehow he was able to continue his plans, which I think he would need his memories for. Just saying. I mean, he literally ran a whole organization, and somehow, between all those Battle Royale matches, he seemed to be able to continue keeping it functional. I feel like you would need your memories for that. That is kind of odd. A part of me wants to say you can keep your memories when you enter the loop no matter what, but that seems too easy, and I would be trashing a big part of the story. So I'm not doing that completely. I found a workaround. If you have a strong enough will, you might be able to keep your memories. I know that's kind of cheating, but what are you going to do? Sue me. But seriously, I feel like this is kind of cheating, but cheating it. I'm not sure. This is just the best way I got to work with this, so Midas can the reasonable explanation why Midas still seems to be able to run the organization, the agency. I'm not sure. On to the next one. As for the 0 point, yeah, I can say the same. I actually have no idea what I have no problem with the 0 point is, and I guess we kind of don't know what it is exactly either, but who really cares? Now let's talk about the Imagined Order and the 7. These factions can stay the same, but I have a small detail I want to add to the IO. Throughout Fortnite, we've known of a group in the IO called the Inner Circle. We are only introduced to 2 of the members, and there must be more, so I plan to try my best to flush out the Inner Circle the best I can. Because, as you know, I like the Inner Circle idea from a previous video, and come on, I just want to see those members. Sorry. With that, I think we're ready to start the story for Chapter 1, Season 1. So, let's dive in then. I think the visitor will still arrive on the island, but something will follow him. It's Kevin the Cube! I know in the original story, Kevin showed up after the visitor does, but trust me, it's better this way. The visitor will still end up escaping before the IO shows up, but we'll get back to him in a little bit. Now, with Kevin here early, I plan to use him in a way that will make Fortnite wish they did. IO will begin to examine the cube as well as the crashed meteor, but when IO gets too close, the cube sends out a burst of energy. It affects the IO squad that was guarding it, and corrupts them. To make this interesting, this won't just be any IO squad. It's going to be the Ego Squad. I know these guys appear in Chapter 2 and not this one, but this is a better use for them, in my opinion. The cube then begins moving around the island like the original, and the Ego Squad will now split up, causing chaos wherever they go. This, of course, is a massive problem, and loopers can no longer fight each other in peace if corrupted beings moving around the island. This is when your looper meets the visitor for the first time. He introduces himself as the visitor, but doesn't tell us about the 7 yet. Why, you ask? For dramatic effect, of course. He explains that the cube and the corrupted Ego members are more likely going to destroy the island unless we stop them. So that an alliance is made. The visitor will help us save the island, and we help the visitor with a special project. He needs us to collect parts from all across the island. He does suggest that we should check out the crash site, saying there should be some good tech there. He's probably referring to the IO camp. We're going to be stealing for IO. Oh, no. So you go in search of Ego. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. We agree to this deal, and we begin searching for Ego. The visitor... the visitor also recommends that they don't go after the cube just yet, for a couple reasons. 1, we know where it is, and it's not going to be hard to lose. 2, we don't want to be corrupted like Ego, because that would kind of suck. So you go in search of Ego along with the visitor, who will act as a party member. By the way, the visitor's gameplay will be completely different than the original. They first find Ripley, who was causing chaos in Flesh Factory. Boss fight will ensue, but the boss fight will be unique for Ripley, and won't act like every other boss fight. Once you beat Ripley, you go on to fight Journey. I believe her name is that. I might be wrong. You will beat her, and the mission is over for now. But just like Ripley, her boss fight will be unique. Why, you ask, I'm making these boss fights unique? Because simple, I want them to be. It'll make things more fun. The visitor will then ask you to grab some of the tech you promised him. You will go across the map, breaking into imagined ore facilities that have popped up around the island, as an attempt to deal with the cube. Of course, you won't know it's the ore, you just know them as the quote-unquote governments. Once you're done looting these facilities, you return to the visitor, who informs you that they found Turk. In fact, the mission has continued. You will go into a boss fight with him, but when it's over, it isn't. The fight instantly stops when you, Turk, and the visitor see a chopper flying over them. Without warning, 2 people jump out. It's Riptide and Scratch. So yes, I'm adding Alter into this as well. Please don't attack me down in the comments, I will hate that. You will beat the 2 of them, and they will escape, but so will Turk. Visitor will then say he needs a break from this, and you agree. You then go to collect more parts for the visitor. After going to several camps, you will encounter Scratch again, who has been dispatched to detain you. Well, don't be surprised. Once you beat him, you'll find Sludge waiting outside for you. You'll make a comment on how Sludge and his friends look awfully similar to the Ego Squad. Sludge would get mad at this, remarking that Alter was far superior. A boss fight begins, and you also defeat Sludge. Before you go, though, someone else appears. It's Agent Jones? Of course we don't know that. He congratulates us on defeating Sludge, saying that he was getting annoying. You quickly go on the defensive. Jones also says that you would make a great order member. You tell him that you have no idea what he's talking about, and proceeds to run away. Jones also asks why he trusts the visitor. This catches you off guard, and turns around in surprise. Jones would also go to say that he knew the visitor once, and it didn't go well. You call Jones a liar and run off. Giants then sees John smile and say, "Lying, am I now?" You regroup with the visitor, who thanks you for the tech, saying he probably doesn't need any more. Then they feel what seems to be an earthquake. But of course it's not an earthquake, because is it ever? The visitor checks his computer and notices that the cube has reached Loose Lake, and something's happening. You then say that it's Kevin. The visitor's confused, then you apologize, saying that's the rest of the loopers we're calling the cube. The visitor laughs, saying it was funny. Then you go to stop Kevin. By the time you get to Loot Lake, Kevin is just rolled into the lake, and looking like it was melting, like the original. You ask if that's good or bad, and the visitor says that this really isn't his strong suit. Then they hear, it's good for us. Then they see 8-Ball and Turk jump down. They land in front of the now purple lake with evil smiles to go with their corrupted looks. The visitor demanded to know what was going on, but before Turk could explain, bullets began shooting at them. Everyone turns to see the Ultra Chopper from earlier. The visitor orders us to take care of Ultra while he takes care of Ego. You agree, and the visitor gives us a jetpack to help you get up there. You fly towards the chopper, and in the chaos, you and the chopper crash. Now, after this next part, you'll get to play as the actual visitor, who has to fight 8-Ball and Turk. The visitor's gameplay will be massively different from the average looper. I don't know how, just do it. He would defeat 8-Ball and then move on to Turk. This is when we cut back to you, where you're just waking up after crashing. Before you get a good idea of what's going on, you are attacked by Hazard. A boss fight commences, and you are the victor. But then Riptide comes out of the trash chopper, weapon drawn. He tells you would make a great Ultra agent. You tell him that you heard that before. He also comments how Ultra wasn't really his style. A boss fight commences, and you defeat him. You then go to help the visitor. When you find him, Turk is giving him quite the beating. And then you engage in a boss fight with Turk, with you coming out on top, of course. As he is being uncorrupted, he will tell us that you were all doomed. You turn to see a cube pyramid rising from Loot Lake. You also see someone on the top. It's the Cube King, sorry. Yes, I am using the origin in this, but don't worry, he won't stay a villain forever. I want to do that to you guys. He begins to laugh at you. He says he knew someone was taking down his pawns, referring to Ego, but he never thought it would be someone like you. You turn to Turk for a second, and back to the Cube King. You ask who he is. He informs that he is the Cube King, and he will destroy all realities today. He prepared to fight him, but with a snap of his fingers, some cube zombies appear, and began running after you. You fight them off for a little, but then you realize this wasn't working. You grab the visitor and began running back to the visitor's base. When you arrive, you try to patch up some of the visitor's wounds. You do your best, but there's no more you can do. You then realize that someone has to fight and defeat the Cube Queen. You also find a backup armor in the visitor's base. So after putting your own spin on it, as in painting it, you go to fight the Cube King. Once you start playing with the armor, you'll fight like the visitor did earlier, sorta. You go back to Loot Lake, where the pyramid is even taller, and the surroundings have become corruptish. After fighting through some waves of zombies, you fly to the top of the pyramid, where the Cube King is waiting for you. In this scene, the Cube King says he was mistaken earlier about you, and offers you a spot in his army. You reject him, saying you would never bow to a tyrant. The Cube Queen says that he does not consider himself a tyrant. He gets out of his throne and takes out his staff. He then says he's just a man that's had to make some hard choices. That's when you tell him, well, I made mine. The Cube Queen says so be it, and a boss fight starts. This would be the hardest boss yet, and you're going to pull out all the stops. And of course, the Cube King's final style will be new to him. When the boss fight is over, the Cube King is able to get the upper hand on you. When all hope seems lost, something arrives to stop him. It looks like a rocket? That's when the radio in the suit activates, and we learn the visitor was at the wheel. He apologizes for being late and begins to fire on the Cube King. The Cube King tries to fight back, but the visitor makes the ultimate sacrifice, crashing his rocket into the Cube King. But before he does, he thanks us and says goodbye. After the massive explosion from the rocket, the loop restarts, and you'll keep your memories due to the suit you're wearing. You decide to move into the visitor's old base, and that's the story. We do get a secret ending scene of Agent Jones in the Imagined Order fighting the Cube King, though. They lock him up, and now it's over. Yeah, I'm teasing him breaking out at some point. Sorry. Maybe not sorry, but yeah. Oh my god, this took so long. Thank you all for watching, and I'm sorry I didn't do anything else for this video. I was planning to do seasons 2, 1, and 4 as well, but Yeah, it's not gonna happen. And this video is just way too long. Seriously, it's like 14 minutes already. But in any case, I do plan to continue this series, hopefully. And I think you'll like some of the ideas I have. But again, please don't attack me down in the comments. You know the saying, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. So, even nice things, please put it down in the comments. Bad, well, keep it to yourself. So please like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.